Hey everybody, it is Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today we're going to paint this metal horse statue. This is a continuation of the metal studies that we're doing, but this is going to be a full painting lesson like I usually do them. It's a great way to check your metal skills, or if you've been wanting to know how to paint something metal. Coming into this, I'm going to be answering a lot of questions you might have about how metal surfaces are painted. If you haven't done the metal study video, I highly recommend it, but you don't have to do it to participate in this. However, this is a great check-in if you did that video to see how that study paid off for you. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hello.
He is going to be making sure that the cameras are pointing at everything, and that also that he mutes the microphone if I sneeze today, because for some reason I'm having some kind of allergy or something.
Feeling sneezy?
I took a Claritin. I hope it's going to hang with me. I don't usually take them. I hear you have to take them regularly. I don't know. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of medical advice. But that's where I'm at. I've got a few colors out on the palette. They're not all the colors I'm going to be using for the course. You can check the colors in the description. Right now I've got quinacridone Gold Deep. If you don't have this color, you could just use an Indian yellow, or even mix kind of a very light yellow orange if you wanted to have a color that's similar. I burned sienna, and I have Mars black and titanium white. Guess what though, John? The beginning of this is so easy because we're gonna just paint the canvas black.
Wait, I'm trying to adjust this so you still see the
You
when
could.
you wipe.
Oh,
There
are
you go.
you? Yeah.
That's
Okay.
perfect.
You are going to be able to, if you had a black canvas that was already painted black, or you had black gesso, that would work here too. But we're going to just paint the background black.
Yeah.
Background black. Yeah, I think so. That's all we're going to do. It'll be fun.
And then
Then we're going to dry it and draw on
do
it.
this.
So let's call this step 1, paint the background black.
Oh, I gotta put
Let's
this in
move
the
me
order
to the
though.
side so the steps make sense.
Let's put it. I don't know where the. You know what? It's been so long since I put step graphics up. I gotta find out where they go. They go there. Look at them all. Just so many steps. There's a
Okay,
step.
step 1. There we go. I'm going to get a bright brush. This is a brush for acrylic. This particular one is about a 1 inch. It's 1 inch in width. It's a 26. And I'm going to go ahead and get my black paint loaded on it and just paint the whole thing black. Sides, everything.
Not know what I'm doing.
You don't?
Some days.
Some days I don't know what I'm doing. I've had the yips like for the last, I don't know, 2 weeks. Get the yips. And they're hanging in with me. I've done all the like sports stuff and the stuff.
All right, where's my little? There's the box.
Coming along here. I'm really enjoying these metal courses, John.
Yeah?
One, because I am starting to build everything a beginner needs to know about painting metal course in my mind
Yeah.
from this study. And then also because I really wanted to paint a metal horse statue, and what a fabulous excuse. And then I also really wanted to paint metal lips. So, yay me! I like to paint metal things.
There's that thing.
I like to paint metal things. It makes me
it.
super happy. I like to paint all the things, though, to be super honest. I enjoy this process. I enjoy the teaching, and I enjoy seeing everybody's work. And, sometimes the YouTubery throws me for a loop. But the actual what I get to do is really terrific. All right.
There we go.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. We did the first step. You guys are already winners. Look at that. One step into painting a metal horse.
Wow.
You got to feel pretty good about that. But guess what?
Step has been made.
To do the next step, you got to sip coffee. You don't actually have to sip coffee. I'm going to sip coffee.
I'm going to. We'll sip
Do
coffee.
you have any questions while I'm sipping coffee before I draw the painting?
I've been so busy button pushing. Let me go look over here. Oh my
gosh, button pushing.
So,
we're just on YouTube today, I think.
Yeah,
on Facebook, and I even forgot to text. So I hope some people found us today.
Oh yeah, there's lots of people here. Let me move this over. There you go.
Because I didn't let anybody know.
Aha. Hey, the questions.
Thanks, Amy. I'm from India, says Janani. I hope I said that correctly. If I didn't, I am really sorry. That is me. Horse girl. Okay. Thanks, Ashley and Karen. Will do. So I see people in and they're helping each other out. And
And this is an 8x8.
this is an 8x8 surface. I have used a bright 26 so far. I have quinacridone gold deep out, burnt sienna, Mars black, and titanium white so far.
Last question.
Mm.
When you were doing the background, just sort of getting that black in, how wet did your brush need to be?
Middle wet. So I'm gonna reboot my how to start acrylic painting because I'm gonna cover something a little more in that, which is how to tune the wetness to your brush to the paint you're using and the technique you're gonna execute. Because I think that's kind of hard. And also the important other thing to know is that different paint requires a different amount of water to thin to spread out smoothly. It's like golden needs a lot more than like say Holbein does.
Hmm.
And then professional paints need more than student paints do.
Right.
So there's a little bit of fine tuning in your own kitchen. You've got to do this a little frustrating. So I've got to create a visual communication where I can say, hey, this is how I'm getting there. This is what you're looking for when you're there. What I'll say is that it should be spreading out of the brush smoothly and easily covering, but not be watery.
Is that floppy? Is that canvas floppy? It looks like it's floppy.
It is a little bit, but here's the quick fix. I'll show you how to fix any saggy canvas.
Saggy, floppy canvases.
You just mist the back with some water.
Ooh.
That's a whole video tip. I could have probably made a whole video about that.
How
But
to
that's
fix
really
a
all you
saggy-
do. For 99% of the canvases you get where the drum is loose, you don't have to use those little wood things, canvas keys, to resquare it. You can, but they're kind of a last resort. You can mostly fix, you know how like if you've ever leaned your canvas against something and it like popped out a little divot on it on your painting,
Yeah.
missed it. Mostly you can always do that technique and it'll restretch most canvases. So, Lily Cleveland, what brush would you start with if you want to make a dagger? A dagger brush?
I would start.
I don't mean to pun there, but there is this brush. It's called a dagger brush, and it's kind of like an extreme angle, and so I had to there. I think I would use a combination of angles and brights and rounds to give me control over the edges and sharp spaces that a dagger would require, because those will be nice reflections, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're going to make your own dagger brush, start with a flat because it's the longest and just sucker right.
If you're going to make your own dagger brush. On that one, I might buy the bristle-on dagger. It's a pretty darn good dagger.
Yeah, a real dagger.
I'm gonna hit the hairdryer while you
Okay.
talk to them about dagger brushes. I'm sorry to be playing, Lily. It is a good brush though. It probably work well in the kit.
Okay, so dagger brushes and sword brushes are really cool. Only reason why I know about them is they use them in pinstriping. So when you're pinstriping a car, they'll use a dagger or a sword brush because they have this really long, really controlled line, and they hold a lot of paint in their belly, so they can leave this really long, controlled line when doing pinstripes. So a sword brush is even longer than a dagger brush, but it uses that same sort of thing. It creates those really elegant long lines where they hold a lot of paint in the belly.
Let's catch
Okay.
these little pockets that are still wanting to divot.
And the more you know.
It'll find its own way. Noletta, she's like, I'd dry it with my hairdryer. I don't even wait. Me, I soaked it down there and I'm going to let it work itself out as we go. Because I have the fireplace on, so it's really arid in here and it'll dry it out. Best way to tighten a canvas in general is the mist, and then the keys, the canvas keys, and a rubber mallet.
It's already looking more taunt.
Yeah, they do. They stretch up real quick. They stretch up real quick. And you don't have to use the hairdryer if you don't want to, if you're in an arid area. Okay, let's do this. Let's call this another step, sir. We're going to draw it in.
Fine. Let's see if the step works.
Ba-doop, boop. All right.
It did it. Look.
I am going to show you how I would draw this out. I'm going to freehand it in. And I'm going to show you the process by which I do that. If you don't want to do that, there's a traceable on the website. It's free to download, and it's not cheating to use it. So don't feel bad about that. I got asked a lot. I got to the place where I was using a lot of grids and a lot of traceables, and people were like, can you just freehand it in and show us that process? So that's why I've been doing that lately. But however you get it in, the surface is just fine. I'm going to come here to the lower, and I'm going to say, I know that part of my horse is going to come off almost at the middle. And just below the middle here is the back of the neck. I know that my nose going to be about in this space, right? I'm going to have a nice little head coming down at a good angle. We'll see how I do today on my horsing.
Oh, we
I'm going to
have a
horse
little
around. I'm going to curve that little neck there, get a nice curve going.
we have a special guest with us.
Who's our special guest today?
Little brush Megan.
Hi,
She's
Megan.
she's 12 and painting with us because she likes the horses with grandma.
I like that too, Megan. I used to be big into horses. The thing that helped me the most, Megan, and I know it's terrible when old timey people give old timey advice. It really is good advice. There's a series of books called Walter Foster, and it's how to draw and paint horses. And the way he broke down the structure of the horse's head really was a breakthrough for me. Helped me really get my best horse out. So if you see those at a garage sale online, sometimes they're really inexpensive. They are old timey books, but they're kind of awesome. I mean, Jaza is great too, right?
They're not old timey, they're vintage.
But
Anything
okay,
vintage.
they're vintage.
Yeah, everything that goes, add an extra decimal place to anything that has vintage attached to it. So your old book is worth 10 cents, but a vintage book is worth $10.
There you go. I'm just kind of capturing, and I may have to lift my canvas to make sure I have scale correctly, capturing sort of the shape of the statue. You know that the nose is going to be kind of like a smaller round circle than the jawbone. And so sometimes you can use that to help you set the nose. Got a little bit of a divot and it comes out. And then back.
That was Walter Foster?
Yeah.
Okay.
He actually lived up the street from us where I grew up, and he was like the first famous artist I was ever really aware of. There were certainly other famous artists in the world, but for the purposes of, young girl who loved horses, he was my jam, and I was super awestruck. Now, coming across the horse, and one of the things I want you guys to think about is whenever you're doing any animal eye on the skull, whether they are forward-facing eyes or side-facing eyes, unless there's some weird undersea creature. I mean, there's a couple examples where eyes are not aligned in the skull because of some survival mechanism that an animal needs. For the most part, they are. I'm going to make sure I bring a little eye out here, little eye bump there, and since that's there, then I know I need to have this here. And that's how I always find the center on my horses. Little diamond face there, little divot there. Now I've got to figure out the line coming in the jaw. I'm going to make sure I got a nice little jawbone because he's got to be able to eat the grass. And then it will come out from about a little bit back here and then down to the chest, right? And then we've got a nice forward muscle here. And so it's about capturing that little line of great musculature, which the sculptures always do, don't they? They always capture that wonderful musculature. So that's something. Not only are we going to learn about metal here today, guys, but we're going to learn about how a horse's muscles function in his structure. Like, believe it or not, this is a series of muscles that horses tend to have. And when they come here and say, there's going to be an ear here and an ear here. So this ear is going to come up a bit above the eye. There's a bit of forehead before the ear starts. We got to give that a bit of forehead. And you can kind of think that the ear starts at the back of the jaw. See how if I bring that line over, you're having trouble knowing where that line goes?
Yeah.
That's how you can find it if you're feeling lost in the structure of the horse. You go, well, if I've decided to put the jaw here, I've got to have the ears at least this far back. Look at that. And we set the eyes. Now I'm going to tilt my surface because sometimes painting or drawing flat is a little bit challenging, and you've got to,
We can still see.
adjust your view to get a better sense of it. So I've got to look there, and that's what I was doing, just making sure I'm happy with that. And that's a very good advice. Ashley's like, you can grid on any size canvas. You can grid on any size canvas. You can use 1/4-inch grids. They don't all have to be 1-inch grids. You can use Grid Tutor to grid any image. It's free too. You gotta love them for that. And we got a little bit of a tendril of hair coming off here, and then this one comes back here. There's a really wonderful this was a very difficult. Now, if you don't know anything about sculpture, you would be super impressed by this. But the way the hair comes back from this ear, super impressive sculpturally. That mold was no joke, right?
Ah, gotcha. Ears. They're the little indicators of a horse.
There we go. I'm going to have mane coming off here. And then when I have his little nose there, I can bring this back here. And then we're going to give him a bit of a nostril coming around. Be very interesting to see how this comes out. All right. What do you call a horse that likes to stay up late? Says Shannon Salinas. I don't know, Shannon. What do you call a horse that wants to stay up late? All right. Now, this is the next step.
We did that.
If you use a traceable, that's what you would have done in this step. And if you were freehanding, you would have done that now.
Now we're on to another step.
Now we're on to another step.
Do you know what step it is?
No, I'm not going to say the number because if I say the number and I'm wrong, it'll throw you off.
See, look.
Aha. In this step, I'm going to use a hog brush. This particular one is a number 20 by Raphael d'Archeny. I can't, some weird, crazy name, brush. And I like this brush for its scruffy nature. So I'm looking for a scruffy, stiff brush to do the next. Oh, a nightmare. Oh, I love it. And I want a really rough kind of background.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put on a little more black paint because I went through a lot of it. I'm trying to use the colors that I used in my metal studies from the previous class because that's what I warmed up on. If you use different colors in the previous metal class, then you might want to use those. I'm going to get a little bit of my black and a smidge of my burnt sienna. And I'm going to start to rough out. And I'm getting a little of the gray here because there's a bit of a kind of gray patina in the background. I'm doing short brush strokes. You guys are noticing that? To kind of give a rough background texture.
They're loving your drawing lessons.
Oh, are they? I never knew if I was going to do drawing lessons on here because I'm like, I just draw, but I realized it is helpful to know. Now, I'm going to get a little more brown coming down here and maybe even get into a little bit of my quinacridone gold, which is super transparent and makes a very lovely effect. It's lovely.
Lovely effects.
Look, if I bring some white into it, look what it does. It does some neat things.
Makes it golden.
Yeah, it does cool stuff. That's why I like it for metal techniques. It's a great color to have if you're doing a lot of metal. So paint is a weird thing. You don't actually have to go out and buy every color of paint, but you will find as you go through life with your paint that there are some colors that are enjoyable to purchase.
Ah.
I'm going to turn my surface a little bit to the side.
That's okay.
And that's just so that I can have tight control on the edge of my brush.
You want to have that edgy control?
I want to have that edgy control as I put in this background. Now, I know we weren't, really doing a background course, but backgrounds are always a good lesson. Every time you solve a background problem, you are always adding to your background skills. My pressure, if you'll notice, is pretty light. My brush isn't very wet, so it's not as wet as when I spread out the black background paint.
It really is interesting. That brush looks different. The way
How do you mean looks different?
I think it's because the natural color of those bristles make everything so stand out, so interesting on the painting.
It does?
Yeah, because it's like you're painting on a black surface with that very natural colored brush, which looks really
so you
pretty.
can really see the movement of the brush?
Yeah.
That's good. I think that's a good thing. I'm going to add a little brown up here. I'm going to kind of work it around like I'm trying to make it random.
Unexpected bonus.
Unexpected bonus backgrounds? Or did we get something good in the mail? I don't know what the bonus is.
No, I mean the background with the brush.
There we go.
Unexpected
Look at that.
brush bonus.
Just subtle little bits. Enjoy the subtle little bits. Um, what brand is the quinacridone gold? So I like Golden's quinacridone gold deep. It's amazing. And then the one I have out today is Holbein's, which is also amazing.
Mm.
Um, I I believe this is pulling back from my memory. I was also very fond of Matisse Daravan's quinacridone, but that's a long ago memory. For sure, in recent use, I really love Golden Artist Colors Quinacridone Gold Deep, and I really love this Quinacridone Gold. It is almost an Indian yellow. It's a very gold orange color that's super transparent. So like this one here in the acrylic line would work as a good exchange for it. Mary Youngblood, did you guys get crazy wind yesterday or was that just us? I don't know if I did.
No, I think that we were protected by
Mountains?
the Pocono Mountains.
Did the Poconos protect us once
The little
again?
Poconos.
I'm going to get a little bit lighter into this gray. The gray maybe is a little bit lighter back here, I'm noticing. And so I get to play with some light. And I also think that this neutral background will help me really play with the metal effect. I'm going to go a little bit far into where I know I'm going to be putting my main, and that's just so that my background is where I have main. Huh?
Did you touch on those colors you're using there?
Yes, I did, but I can go over it again. Quinacridone gold. You can get quinacridone gold deep, quinacridone gold, quinacridone nickel azo is also, that's also a good color and would work in an exchange here. Those would be very interchangeable in their behavior because, again, you want that transparency, you want that luminosity. When you hit it with white, it should almost glow or vibrate.
Mm.
And all those colors will do that. So I know it's tough. Sometimes it feels so hit or miss at the art store and you don't want to buy the wrong thing. I feel pretty okay about saying that to you because I know if you get any of those colors, you're not going to be mad at that tube of paint. I'm adding just a little bit of this burnt sienna to create maybe just a little more drama in the background. Notice how it kind of diffuses and creates a bokeh or diffused effect. And I really like that. See how when I hit the white, it's like glowing?
Mm-hmm.
That's just what we're talking about there. It's a nice thing. I feel like I've made a very pretty background and nothing is really hitting me as stopping my eye. That's what I'm always looking for a background. Is there interest in the background while still not stopping my eye into something unexpected? Rinse that brush out really, really well. Oh, all right. Amy says, thank you. And apparently it's been windy all over. I got Nickel Azo Gold. You're good, THM Teach. Nickel Azo Gold is an amazing color. It's in this family. So if you think of it in this construct before going to the next step, burnt sienna, like that's a pigment we're all familiar with. If you've painted for a minute and you've tried different brands, you're going to realize there's a huge range in a paint made of dirt, right? It's dirt paint, and there's a huge range depending on how they finish it, where they source their pigment from. And so burnt sienna in one line can feel very different than burnt sienna in another line. So you start to get the sense of like what I'm looking for, the characteristics of my paint that I'm looking for, more than specifically anything else, because like a lot of things can say. I was watching a vlog by my friend Lindsay and she was talking about a paint that had really changed color and she had listed it and I was like, there's a lot of color in that pigment code depending on how the company finishes it. And and in the blog I'm referencing, everything she said is right. She's absolutely correct. Just not to get all into the whole deeps of it, you can go watch it. But that was just my thought. I was like, gosh, there's a lot of color in that pigment code. Right?
Yeah, actually, you should. After this, go watch her vlog.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
Yeah, our art reviews any good, I think, because I always recommend Lindsay as an art review. Now you'll understand why when people are like, what do you think of this watercolor? I'm like, I haven't tried it, but go watch Lindsay. It's because she's tried them all, and she explains why sometimes old reviews become bad, useless reviews because of no fault of the reviewer, and I think it's an important thing to know as a consumer. All right, let's call this a step and dry it. I'm going to
Okay.
dry it, and I would love my
You
coffee heated.
dry that. And I will say, child. Thank you. Don't forget to check out all the stuff hidden in the link in the description down below. Shoot, coffee.
Hmm.
No, no. You're back fast.
I'm back fast.
I think we're on a Nudar step, right?
Oh, hello.
We got to continue on stepping.
I'm stepping.
You ready
The
to
kitty
step?
nails have come and got my coffee.
Look.
Stepping. All right. So, you guys, how you liking your background? Sky silver. The only quinacridone colors I can find are magenta, reds, violets. I can't find quinacridone gold anywhere, even on eBay. I'm sure it's on eBay. Something's weird in that search, but what I'll say is then switch to try Indian yellow is another good one to try. But I know that eBay has all the golden colors, and golden has a
But you should be careful
doesn't
about
matter.
eBay buying.
It is weird though. It is weird.
I would be careful not buying paint
And
from
again, you could just like we talked about at the beginning, you can make a color. You can take a little bit of your yellow and red and kind of create a bright orange and put glaze in it and transparent it out and get a similar like you're just looking for the effect, right? So that's what it is. Oh, Mary Youngblood, I watched Lindsay's video yesterday. It was excellent. It was excellent, wasn't it? She did a really good job. I'm looking for my coffee, but it's not here. I'm going to take a 3/8 angle brush. You could use a round if you didn't have this. I just want to start putting in some color. And getting there. I'm going to see what other little goodies I have out here. I think I also had pulled out some burnt umber. This is another line of paint, if you haven't seen it, is in Michael's Artist Loft level 3, not level 1, level 3. I'm going to get that in there, and I'm also going to put out a little yellow ochre. Thank you, wonderful person that you are. And I'm even using like this weird yellow ochre, so that's where we are. I'm using the matte by Sennelier. But it's a good yellow ochre, and it does the job. So you don't have to be too stressed about it. I got some nice colors out here to be working my metal with. And I've got red in the wings if I can't. Cheap Joe's is as a recommendation. By the way, I recommend Cheap Joe's just generally as a good place to go. And if you really, really can't find the color, I put it in my Amazon store. So. But you don't have to buy it from there. But sometimes that can help you find something. I'm going to take a little bit of my burnt umber and my Mars black, and I'm going to come to the back of the neck, and I'm going to start kind of getting that patinaed, deeper color. I'm curving my brush stroke a little bit. And I'm going to work this through the area because even as I come back, having a little bit of this underneath will help pull up those layers and give that thing. Now I'm going to get a little bit of this color, my little gold into here. You could use your yellow ochre if you didn't have it. Right? A little bit of white, just a smidge. But see how that gives me just a lovely bronze? I'm going to add a little bit of that little highlight there and maybe along the top of that neck. Just like before, what am I looking for? I'm looking for, in metal, we're looking for the reflection. So what I'm going to try to paint are the reflections that I see. And to the degree that I can tune that in, I'm going to do great. Always come through with black if you need to shade things out. Coming through there. This is that first kind of put it in space. Get these two together. Let's get into our yellow ochre. Kind of pushing these down. These are lighter in their values, so we can block this in just a little lighter than everything else, right?
Yeah. So, what does quinacridone mean? Where did the quinacridones come from?
They are synthetic modern paint. They're part of the modern color family.
There's no wild
There are
quinacridones.
no wild quinacridones. They do not exist in the wild. I'm going to get some black here. And then we're going to take a minute before going on the next step and really kind of, I'm going to show you some color mixing choices that I made here very specifically. So you're not having to keep up with me and to understand them, okay? So as I got that in, right now I'm just roughing in real quick what I have. Like I know I have a very dark color coming down the neck and then right here. And if I'm trying to make sure that that feels like a very dark color, one of the things I can do is come back into my background gray. Make sure I've got a good value difference between those two so that they really show from each other. All right, let's talk about the color mixes, okay?
Talk about it.
All right, so in this, I'm going to always start, you know, kind of with maybe a brown and a black. And you can see that gets me in kind of a very neutralized chocolate brown. If I get a little quinacridone gold into this, and you see I add white, it gives me a really natural little range into brass. I can go into my burnt siennas here and even play with my yellow ochres. And you can see as I'm going between my burnt sienna, my burnt umber, my Mars black, my yellow ochre, and this quinacridone gold, on occasion pulling white, you can see how it changes between and how that really is the range of metal colors that we have. I won't pull out my CADs until later in the video. So this is where I'm at. And again, if you don't have this one, it's okay. You could do it here. You could do it in this triangle. It's more important that you get a dark, a middle, a highlight, and then your bright highlights to get your metal effects. And hopefully that's what the study showed. Rita McGovern says that they clicked on the link for Dick Blick and it said page unavailable. Does it say that for anyone else? It may be that links are not supported at the moment, and I will check that after the show.
It could be that
you can also find me on the Dick Blick teacher page. If you go to the Dick Blick teacher recommendations and you search the Art Sherpa, I'm there. So you can find me through their teacher thing. Lily Cleveland, if you're right-handed, where do you recommend your light coming from, over the top or over the left, so we don't make shadows? That's a good one that you can do, John.
Let's see. Let me go.
I'm coming with a little brown.
Oh, yeah. So yes, and the answer to that is that this is a very dark piece. So I normally would have more light on this. Let me see if I can.
No, I think that they were saying like, I think Lily, that's what Lily was asking. I thought Lily was asking, how do you light one's own studio though?
I'm maybe understanding something different.
I could be wrong too though. I've been all weird and off this week, so.
Recommend our light coming from over the top or over the left so we don't make shadows. Okay, so Lily, you want lots of soft light. Lily's answer to that. Try to get 2 or 3 light bulbs that are all the same color, preferably like in that 5,000 Kelvin range. I'll say 5,000 K daylight. Just make sure that the ones you use in the room are the same.
Yellow ochre into the mix, guys. We're going. I'm just like letting them know, but you're good, John. I want you to share this information.
Yeah, multiple lights, softly diffused, and let's see. The last thing is be careful of reflective light off of colored surfaces. If you have a pink wall, it's going to cast everything pink.
I agree with that.
Like if you have a big green screen behind you. Just saying, gotta adjust for that green cast and everything.
You know, I have hair that's not green this time, so you got nothing you can say.
I lucked out. There wasn't a hole in your head.
Now, I may go through and I might come back in and kind of, let's use a hog brush. This is from that same line. This is a good hog line of brushes. This is the number 6 of Raphael in the round. And I'm going to come here and just try to make sure And wiggle this around, guys. There we're doing. That there's a nice value between this statue and the background. I'm going to wiggle it out. Sometimes it's good to create those little values, and you can just play with this stuff, right?
I can watch you play with it.
We're going to do a fun cast shadow over here in a little bit. We're almost there on the first layer of horsey porsies. Horsey porsies, pudding and pie. I'm going to get a little bit of my yellow ochre, interestingly enough, and my Mars black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we said,
I think I put my horse in a little bit smaller, so I'm going to have to kind of adjust the mane. And that's okay.
thank you to everyone out there supporting us with Super Chat and the Emoji Club and being patrons on our website.
We super appreciate that.
Thank you, everyone out there. Just going back through the chat, making sure I catch everything.
No, it's like that's important, right? We can't teach weird metal classes without it. So it makes a big difference.
It's kind
For
of like
everyone.
Pokemon.
I'm just bringing a little bit of mane there, and I'll come through here. I know I've got value, but sometimes you just want to get in paint and get a sense of where things are. So I have a very loose sense of light and dark. Okay?
Loose.
So this is where we're at. We're about 4 or 5 layers away from wow. So hang in with yourself and hang in with me because we're going to get there. Maria, thank you for saying hi to my granddaughter Megan. We really love you so much and follow you for years. Thank you for following me for years, Megan and Maria. I really appreciate it. I know there are many choices and more every day on YouTube. So I appreciate everyone who trusts me and hangs in with me and gives me a chance every one of these lessons to share what I know with you. It means a lot to me. John and I have been talking about that lately.
Yeah.
A great deal of how much that means. For me. Let's step it. I don't want to dry anything, but we should step it.
I have to make the horse disappear, and then the step can appear.
Nah.
But you cannot have a horse and a step simultaneously.
Mm-mm.
But maybe you can. I would just have to.
I did not know that, but
I only have so many buttons at a time. See, look at that. It messed up my button. That button messed up. There. Back to the buttons.
So I think we got to scroll in the chat a little bit too. I think that these are the 2 brushes I'm going to be using in this step. I'm going to be staying in this color range. I don't think I'll be pulling any CAD red or anything. Oh, Ashley, thank you so much. I don't think I'm going to be, it's an Ashley party, doing anything. I think I'm going to be right there. No CAD red, no CAD yellow yet. So let's continue on. I'm using this brush. If you want to know why I'm making this choice, it's to create scratchy effects. And I'm using this brush to create edged effects. That's 2 very important things to be able to do in metal in those details where you're trying to create that feeling of something. Right? Maybe I'll put a CAD yellow. So you guys, if you don't have the other, you can see though, CAD yellow, look at CAD yellow. That's really quite a yellow, right? Versus what happens when you get a little white into that. They're yellow, but there's just a bit of a toning to that I really love. Oh, Ashley says, love and light, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Sherpa and John, and everyone behind the scenes for everything you do. People behind the scenes that have to work with me, you should put up lots of hearts for, because I'm a pain in the buddy. I am. I'm a pain. I accept this about myself. I think this is true. All right, I'm going to grab a little bit of my Queen Gold here, and I'm going to start to roughly speak about this set of reflections. So there's a reflection that comes down mid-neck, right? One of the things that can help you not get stuck in the anatomy is just paint the reflections in the shadows where you see them. It's amazing how often, if you can just do that, the object will happen. And the reason for that really is that's what we're always really doing as artists, is just painting highlights and shadows. Now, as I'm coming through here, you'll notice I lighten up, right? Maybe get a little burnt sienna into it, but I'm lightening up. So I can lighten my color up by both adding white to it or yellow or lighting in some way. And sometimes I can lighten my color by lifting my brush. Go figure that, right?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of dusting there. Oh, there's a nice one here. I love this reflection right here. I intend to put some love and work into this one. There we go. And I love that shine there. I'm just trying to see how the muscles pull the horse in.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of burnt sienna and clean gold as we come up. Maybe a little more burnt sienna. Get some Mars black into this. Trying to deepen it into that, out of that gold range into that bronze range. A little bit up there. Oh, got a little brown, but I'll blend that in because with metal, there's always a patina. So it's what's big deal is that I get value, hopefully during the study process.
Uh-huh.
You guys noticed that value was a huge deal over everything else on metal, where the reflections were and how the reflections were.
Now, Amy asked a good question.
Hey, Amy.
Is there going to be a metal study in watercolor as well?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure that wasn't
You did
a
not
thing.
hallucinate that experience. There's gonna be, we're gonna do this in watercolor because it's good for me. It's good for you, right? Like we learn these skills. If you change mediums and you do the study again, well, then you're understanding the subject. That's what we do when we study art. We understand the subject, and unlike other types of art, like school study, this is always fun. Imagine if they were like, kids, I want you to take your crayons and go out and observe the bluebonnets, and that's what you're gonna do for this period. Is just do. I had that in class. We like have to go out and really just look at something and draw.
So we have an interesting surprise for everyone today.
Mm.
We're going to have a guest stunt hands.
You're gonna have a oh today? Am I that late? I
It's
was worried it was gonna be like that.
well, that's why we talked about it earlier.
I didn't want to change the times on everybody. I'm gonna just dust some color here. See how we're doing? See it coming into being. Right now he could be just a horse, right? We could just be shading a horse. Where he's gonna switch in metal is the extremes between shadows and reflections and the hard edges and the scratchy nature that horses, they're generally not cut up little metal bits, right?
Through the bells, like I'm gonna paint C3PO.
Dude. Excellent. Excellent studying metal. And if you can get into the Disney Plus stuff where you look at the art studies for the Mandalorian, blew my mind.
So here in a little while, I'm going to have to dash off to be the bus,
I'm
and
sorry.
Honey is going to step in and stunt hands for us.
For a little bit.
So I will probably start that training
Process soon.
handoff here, just so that,
You can see how it's going to go.
and we can do a little practice, because if this goes well, we may have uh, more guest appearances,
I don't
provided
know about that.
behavior.
Don't talk crazy. I don't know about that.
Yeah, definitely accordance to paint Mando.
That's a good subject to paint. I'm going to get some kind of burnt sienna here. I'm kind of using it instead of red. Try to rub it there. And then if ever you need to go in and deepen, then you go back into your black. Back in black. Play with those deep cuts. Brush that along there. It's fun stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Go. All right. So how's this working? This is giving me a very nice rough, kind of effect. And rinse that out a little bit. I've got on my, I'm going to get into my angle like we talked about at the beginning. And I'm going to try to capture, let's get a little burnt sienna and my gold here. And I may have to come back with a dark value. But you can see that's a much sharper edge. That's what I'm trying to do. I could do a detail brush too, I imagine. Come along the ear. Highlight a bit in there. Just a smidge here. Trying to make sure that my lines follow the cast of the statue. Is what I'm doing.
Lots of horse lovers in here.
Are there lots of... I like painting horses. How much do you guys want to paint horses? We could do that all week too.
Rita would be on board with that.
Redo all of Acrylic April. It's just horses. That's all you get.
Yeah, well,
I love them.
it'd be equestrian April.
Equestrian April. I'm not promising that. Don't freak out because don't get too excited and don't get too mad because that's not... I'm not going to do that to everybody.
What about this year?
All right.
Next year, all bets off.
Come along this little edge. Trying to capture, get the metal. Right now, again, we're there at hair because we're not doing the very structured form just yet. But we will. These are little touches. This is an interesting fold of mane. I got to figure out how to really get well. Just looking and capturing that. And we can do a little bit here at the nose, because why not? We're here in the value. Start to think of it. Come back with a little nostril highlight at the moment. All right, I think that's good. That's a lot to take in, right? You guys did a lot. Lily Cleveland, I wasn't allowed to pursue art, but I encouraged my son. But his art teacher told him not to waste his time pursuing art. He now works for Lucasfilm, Star Wars division. He does Mandalorian. All hail Lily Cleveland. You win, Mom. Just so you know, for all of us, I love the work on the Mandalorian. Fantastic work. Please pass it on. I'm a huge fan of all the creatives over there. I mean, I'm a huge fan of all the creatives that work at Lucas. I just think every time I see it, I find myself inspired. And I know we don't think because we're a narrow-minded society, I know we don't think of these things as fine art until we get some distance from them, and then we look back and you go, you know, that was super special stuff we did there. I'm already seeing it. I already call it super special stuff, just so you know. Oh, goodness, sorry, I'm going to blow my nose. I don't know
Okay.
if we can mute or
You muted. Okay, but you're muted. They can't hear you. Okay, so now you're unmuted. You want me to step you?
step me and heat me.
Okay. Step.
And heat. Look at this. So we're at that beginning where we're starting to see the form of what we're doing. I'm using my little, hey, Twix, don't fart.
Ever-present danger of...
Ever-present danger of the twigs. This is how into this I am. I even have the Mandalorian Color Pop collection. I bought the whole thing. That's how into it I am, Lily. Very into it. So amazing. All right. Celebrity in our midst. We have another celebrity. We have another mom whose child works over at World of Warcraft. So, but I don't want to out them because I know like then everyone's going to be like, wanting that World of Warcraft inside scoop and ticket. What are you doing?
I was just checking. I'm not sure.
Somebody got removed as moderator?
I'm
Or
not
somebody
sure.
got made moderator
I think
by
someone
accident?
accidentally got made as a moderator here.
Okay, just that doesn't. You can remove the moderator and not remove them from the channel.
Right. So I
Okay.
Sorry, I think I accidentally modded one of our
Don't worry.
viewers.
You're not
Sorry,
suddenly
Rosie.
responsible for everybody.
Rosie, I think I accidentally modded you there. So
I'm
sorry.
so sorry.
You had a little wrench, and then it would disappear. That's
I
all it
think
was.
John was just worried that if he removed the wrench, it would somehow remove you from the
Right.
channel.
I didn't want to, like, oh no, what
Sorry.
happened? So,
All right. Do we have heating my coffee? Honey?
do we have?
We have that, and then we step it, and then I'll do more
We already
highlights.
did we?
It's gonna go quick when it goes.
I think we stepped.
Did we step?
We stepped.
We stepped.
Now you muted, and now we're gonna coffee, and you keep painting.
Okay,
And then
that
when
seems really good. I'm gonna get a round brush, and I'm trying to decide if I want a detail round, or I'm just kind of thinking about the brushes that I would play with. I'm gonna definitely get I love my monogram liner. Look how like totally messed up it is though. And I'm gonna get into it just goes so yellow. I'll work my CAD yellow into some of it just to.
Rosie was like, I was wondering where that thing came from.
Which thing?
The wrench. She was.
It's like, what's happened?
Rosie was like, well, I don't know what this wrench thing is, but okay.
Just gonna use my little detail brush here to get some details. And again, this artist who made this statue, right?
Huh.
They did a lot of study here. They really observed their subject. They paid attention to the structure of how horse is built. So to be a good sculpture artist, you really have to be aware of what you've got going on,
I'm going to say thank you to Coco M over on Discord who sent Sheila over here because we're live on YouTube.
Oh, thank you.
Locations.
Thank you for recommendations. I'm with you on that. Right, let's go here.
Rosie's like, I didn't abuse the power. I just was wondering what it was.
No, we were worried about you abusing
no. We just didn't want to like.
Did Shortcake just run under the table and upset Twix? Shortcake has
sure.
just crammed herself under that one little, then just refusing to go, and Twix can't get rid of her.
They growl at each other.
Yeah. She came running in. She got away.
Oh yeah, I see her.
And she ran in and she was like, no, I'm under the wood. You cannot get me. I'm small.
She finds the place where she barely doesn't fit.
And then is like, you can't do a thing about me except my presence.
I weigh a bazillion tons.
All right. Well, we'll let her be in for a second. And then when she forgets that she's hiding, we'll get her. She'll forget that she's hiding at some point. I'm going to get my burnt sienna and my black, and it's a great way to come up into here, See how we're creating a highlight along the ridge of the nose?
Yeah.
It's important. Take a little bit of my burnt sienna and my gold. A little bit of my white. A little more white into it. Build up the highlights. Right here. Building up that highlight. That's nice. It's looking good in the nose.
It is.
Not the nose, the eye. What am I saying? Nose. That was weird. Come in now, but I'll do the nose since I mentioned it. Sometimes you're like, I'm just going to do it because I mentioned it. And you get into your dark and you can really taking care of that.
Yeah.
Up there she goes. She forgot.
What?
Shortcake. She just bailed.
Oh, we'll get her.
She was like, they don't know what I'm up to.
She smelled the foods. I'm gonna get her.
Okay. I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna add a little bit of a kind of above this lip. There is a structure, and really what this is where the teeth goes. I don't know if that's helpful for you to know, but there's a set of teeth here and a set of teeth back here. And you always have kind of a highlight on their little faces if they have not been really fed too many goodies. That really shows that structure in the face. So I want to make sure I'm going to add a little more highlight here, and that's what you see me doing. I'm into that number 2 kind of hog bristle brush. Your hog brush doesn't have to be the most expensive brush ever, by the way, in any means. It can be, maybe less expensive. The only reason, less expensive hogs are a problem is sometimes they shed, so you've got to pre-wash them. It's not a big enough issue to not get one for cost. And get a little black here. Come along that structure, right? And then come back into this and get a little white. And then let's come back here and curve this stroke a little bit. We're going to have to paint like little veins and stuff too, so that's real fun.
Ooh.
Paint them veins. It's the work. The work of what we do, right? Over raise that vein, so I'll bring it down. Come in, a little burnt sienna, a little quinacridone. Burnt umber. Before I get into the detail of the veins, I want to capture the planes of the metal.
Mm.
And then you can get into that kind of fun stuff. Shenanigans, that's what I want to say. Shenanigans. I definitely want to shade the back of this a little bit darker than the front. I'm just paying attention to that. This is just like a teapot. Paint a horse, paint a teapot, same thing. You can see I don't rinse my brush out a lot, do I? I just kind of travel around. Now we've got this here. Maybe we'll add a bit of this sort of bright highlight that's here. We'll talk about it a bit now. And there's a bit of one here. See how we're capturing that light?
Yeah.
This is fun stuff. Mine stole a chink on my turkey sandwich once. So fun. Cinnamon prepared canvases for metal paintings. Well, if I'm ever going to get that video done where I like explain everything a beginner needs to know about metal, I have to study metal. I have to study it in a way that when I look at it, I can say, how can I explain what happened here in the most simplified way possible? I'm working on a cloud video that's finally that right now, right? Which is you do the video, you go in doing the video, you don't know clouds, you come out, you know this one kind of cloud process in and out. It's going to be
Yeah.
amazing. You guys, I feel like it's the video that's going to change it for everybody on their cloud thing. But I couldn't get there without studying clouds.
Hmm.
I'm going to look at this and see if I need to move this line a bit. And that's what I'm doing is I'm adjusting my line. Sometimes, again, remember when I say sometimes when you paint flat, it makes it challenging for you to see. And what helps me see it is I'll be like, I'm going to get a little yellow into this and just be like, woo, live big. God, so yellow. It's in here, but it's in here sparingly. And then I will try to move that line. There we go. I feel like that's better. See how that's better? That's better. So sometimes tip it up, change your perspective, think about what you're doing.
Okay.
So I have to do that sometimes. Tip it up. Get tipsy with it. Let's get a little black and a little white, kind of like a gray. I haven't really rinsed out my brush, and that's okay. I'm more concerned with values and things, right? Come along here. I'm going to tip a little bit of a highlight. That's important, that highlight.
I think if you guys could have, I'm pretty sure you just heard the little pitter patter of the feet across the floor.
She's so fast.
That was
Shortcake saying, I want to be in this room.
that was shortcake lightning.
She is lightning.
The dog that is ticklish.
There's an important reflection that's there, and I want to capture that. And then there's this sort of like green. And do you guys remember when we did the stones in acrylic apron? We showed how like black and yellow make green. So sometimes it would be tempting to like maybe get into some green in your palette. Cad yellow and Mars black make some pretty terrific greens. Okay, so I'm going to want to put, to come up from this, I'm going to want to have one little highlight right here coming up from that line. And then there's kind of another little bit there. So I'm just trying to get those metal bits. This is going through my brain. Any update on the Mamma Mia event and award? We have a winner. If the moderator, if we can say the winner's name on the show, that's totally fine. If the mods no, I don't.
I don't remember the.
I don't know. I don't know if
I had to
Cad
choose.
Yellow is there.
So we had to choose our winner. We had a blind thing where we didn't really know the names when we were reading those. So I don't honestly.
That was like a thing that they did. Is so they everybody had an entry. We had someone who took care, knew what entry was connected to what person on what essay, and then the names were removed so everybody could read those essays
And not know.
and not know where they came from, so we could be clear on what that was. And then it was a profound. I think everyone who read essays was touched for life.
April Schroeder.
April Schroeder is our winner. And everybody got notified if you had an entry, check your email because you should have heard from us. Everybody that entered because your stories were so profound, we're going to do like a virtual get together because I want to talk to you guys more. You guys were amazing. I'm adding a little white to it. So thank you for asking. Gonna put a little highlight on the nose there. And a little bit of a brighter highlight right there. Do you see that? That's where it starts to switch from being the horsey to the metally. I get a little bit of my black and white and go more white. Come up right here to the tip of the ear. See that? We're going to have a bit, and then I'm going to light dust, but there's going to be a bit of a highlight that pops there, and that's how you're going to see the edge of that. Are you off, sir?
Not quite yet. I'm going to hand over the mic to Honey so she can control things
Oh boy.
while I'm. Yep.
I'm not nervous at all.
Yeah, that just switches them.
Bring a little shadow along there. See how we brush dusting a little shadow along there? Guys, this is fun. What about using metallic paints? So here's the thing, and I'm going to do a video about this so you can see it. Metallic paints are transparent and flat. The best metallic paint out there is Golden's Gold Fine. That's very loaded, doesn't patina, and also Holbein's Gold Gesso and Holbein's Gold Paint. But mostly all the rest of it is just practically interference paint. So it doesn't really give you this effect. To really paint metal, you have to paint those reflections, the highlights. Shannon Salinas, is there a link to the essays? I would love to read them. We are trying to pull that together. We have to get one permission from everybody to share their story because their stories were personal. And also so there's that reaching out and saying, hey, is it okay to tell your story? And how we can share that so that they feel comfortable, because they were powerful stories. I am always humbled by how strong people in my community are. They are unbelievable, just unreal and amazing in every conceivable way. Just continuing to put a little highlight here. Let's add a little more white to that little reflection there, because there's a bit of one. Okay, get that there. Do that a bit. It's getting there. Just builds up. Lily Cleveland, honey, you can do it. We have faith in you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's switch over to a round brush. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to get some black loaded on my brush. I'm going to edge that ear with some black. And then even here on the inside. I'm going to undercut that part of the mane with the shadow. That's going to be a big thing on how it goes from feeling like hair to feeling like metal. Will also be the deep undercut shadows that let us really see it. And just really work this. We'll be at it for just a little second, guys, to get the result we want. But when we come out, are we going to understand this subject so much more? Yes, yes, we are. I may also, looking at this, pull in a kind of copper patina into it. You may see me pull that in. It's unexpected, but as I'm observing this, and that should be happening to you as you observe subject matters, more and more and more, that you go, oh, you know what? I think this has a particular feel to it. And you don't have to be completely stuck in the sculpt, but you know, you do want to be able to use it for reference. So, oh, here's an interesting thing. Now I have licensed this as artist reference, right? But if you saw a statue and you painted the statue, the person who made the statue still owns the statue. Copyright. Does that make sense? And so things sometimes artists don't know. Like for the purposes of being students, not really relevant here at all. But the purposes of being a professional artist, that's something to like really know. Sometimes in metal, the shadow is as important as the highlight. I'm coming in there and just really trying to make sure that that looks really good. All right, there's the better get your kid. I'm going to come in and I'm going to take a little of my quinacridone gold and my yellow ochre together. They make such a nice brass color. Not quite yet, but when we get to the end of the main, we're gonna. I assume you're just wanting some warning. Yeah. Like, let me know before it goes.
Yeah, it's done. Oh, there it goes. For some reason, it wasn't working, and I couldn't hear myself.
I'm gonna add some highlights to that there so that we can see that. Let's also put a little highlight here. And then maybe again at the tip. Just building it up. Building it up. Brushing it down and try to pay attention to the flow. That will help you.
Surprised you didn't have me in immediately for the horse thing.
Hmm?
Surprised you didn't have me in immediately for the horse thing.
Have
You
who
know
in
I love
immediately?
me, because I like horses.
Oh, well, much like wild horses, you are unpredictable.
That's so true.
All right, so we've got a little bit there. Let's get to here. This is a good place to get to if you guys can see where we are. And
Oh, sorry. I put up the step.
is it the correct step?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so this is a step. I'm trying to break these down in smaller bits. If you want to see Honey's artwork, Honey has artwork for sale on Twitter. Twitter.
Twitter.
Whole commission business. All right. So once we have that in, we're going to just continue on with those details, right? So let's get back into our detail brush perhaps, and I'm going to get into my black. Make sure we have a nice shadow coming out from the eye. I like doing that. And it's okay to use rough strokes because of the way this sculpt is, that there's kind of like a lot of line and tool mark in it. That's something that sort of is very evident in this particular sculpt is the tool mark. Now, one thing that you can do if you want to do veining is actually do the shadow of the vein and then come back in and do the highlight of the vein.
Weirdly looks like a tear at this point.
Yeah, at this point it would look like a little bit of a tear because it's kind of coming out from.
Because it's metal, maybe oil, something.
Well, how do you mean?
Well, because like I don't know, I've just seen a lot of stuff that's like metal or gold and it has oil instead of water.
Ah,
Robot horse?
nope. I think this artist just sculpted their horse and noticed that very warm-blooded horses have blood vessels showing in their face.
I did not know that.
Yeah, almost always.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I've not seen many real horses.
I feel like there's some condemning in that, Toad. Like, like I have shorted you on your horse education.
I don't know, like from someone who came from horses. I made that seem like your parents are horses, but that is not true. Um, you had horses as a child.
You wish you came from horses.
I do. Life would just be better that way.
It is good. It's a good horse
Good horse life.
experience. So we're just adding those details, right? Oh, and that you see there on the.
Looks nice.
I'm trying to find that space where that works. I might come back with a little bit of my
Someone
hog
is
brush.
begging for the details on the brush.
Hmm?
Someone is begging for the info on the detail brush.
Oh, this detail brush is a #1 monogram liner in the ruby satin line.
I don't know what any of that meant.
I might move the placement of these veins a bit as I'm looking at it, and that's something that you can do.
Wow. Just undoing it.
Sometimes I will. Sometimes I'll be like, I don't like it, and then I undo it.
That's crazy. Undo button, but on real art. Not real art. I meant like real life? Question mark? Not digital. I promise I'm not anti-digital art. I'm a digital artist, I swear.
Trying to get that kind of worked out there. There we go. I got that move where I wanted it.
Well, May, my mom has some. Don't you have some older horse paintings on your YouTube?
So many horse paintings
Yeah,
on my
'cause
YouTube. I even have a flaming space unicorn that's rearing in my YouTube.
yeah, there's many horses on the YouTube. Because May, supernatural
Hi,
investigator
May.
of
How are you doing?
Minnesota.
May was
um,
what?
her full name is May,
I bro-
supernatural investigator of
there we go.
Minnesota. Had said that I love horse paintings. You don't see a lot of tutorials for them. This is beautiful.
Oh, thank
And I
you.
was bringing up that you have so many.
May might know that May's painted with us for quite a second. May has one of my very favorite online handles. Do you see how we're adding that
Oh, I like
reflection
it.
to the eye to pull in that metal space?
It looks nice.
I'm here. Again, it's quinacridone gold. There's a little yellow ochre in there. Sometimes cad yellow gets in, but it's more important than anything is the value.
You know what we do have here?
Hmm.
Cows. Cows.
We do.
So
There are
many
always
cows.
cows. Cows are lovely.
I love cows.
Nothing not to like with cows. And it's okay that I'm rough again in that brush stroke because this is metal.
There is a Christmas horse.
There is a Christmas horse. I want to redo the Christmas horse, but there is a Christmas horse.
You want to redo it? Why do you want to redo
I
it?
feel like I could teach it better. Sometimes
Hmm.
I teach something and I'm like, I look at it and I'm like, I could explain that better, teach that better.
Oh, well, somebody just said that was a great tutorial, so
Thank you.
clearly you
Thank
have some opposite opinions of your skills. I
you.
think
And I'm not
you're.
saying my skills are bad. It's just sometimes every time you do something, you're better at it.
That is true.
I am doing some looking back, 10 years ago, 30 years ago, at what I was doing artistically and where my headspace was. I'm going to share with you before Acrylic April my first daily painting that I tried to do. It is terrible. And so bad. And like I almost gave up art altogether. It was just, I was like,
Isn't
I
that
could paint last week, but now I tried to do this. I can't paint at all. And we're going to look back and look at how through iteration and growth. But even in that, I was noticing on looking at older videos where I went through subjects over time, I was like, just even making videos we got better at.
ooh, horses with blankets on? I love horses with blankets on.
Do you know?
Yeah, Grumpy Bunny was bringing up, I love seeing horses with their blankets on. And I agree. They're very cute.
Sometimes I know that racing is not always ethical, but I also love horses and silks.
Well, I mean, like, you actually, like, did races.
Well, I did long distance endurance riding.
I don't know what that, like, I
That's
didn't even know
that's
that was a thing.
instead of a mile or a furlong, it's like 100.
Oh, wow.
So that's a different amount of distance. And there's a lot of vets and experts in that particular sport, and you lose if you don't take care of your animal.
I'm sure your horses were very happy doing all that.
Oh yeah, that's big adventure time. Are we revisiting the fire chicken then? Fire chicken is the
Oh my
most
gosh!
brilliant lesson
I
I've ever
remember!
done. Y'all don't even know what you're talking about there. Ah, I'm just kidding.
I remember that. That was so long ago. That's an old painting.
Fire chicken was just acrylic April 2020.
It was? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, 2020 feels so far away.
2020 does feel far away. I'm adding a bit of a highlight there to the eye, just trying to capture some of that little metal.
I just am thinking now back in the
Let's
days of Sherpa with a hat and apron.
gonna kind of add a little bit of rough marking there. Sometimes I get into little details to give myself sense of where I want to go on an overall piece. You know, so I can go, oh, like I'm getting there.
Getting close to his step.
Not yet, but I'll let you know. I'm
Okay.
still thinking. I'm still thinking.
I have a question.
I have an answer.
Do you miss the days of hat and apron Sherpa?
Yes, sometimes I do.
Really? Because you've definitely changed in your like style of like when you paint.
I miss the YouTube of Hat and Apron Sherpa.
Ah,
I
not like
miss I
hat and
miss the
apron
style. I
Sherpa.
miss the YouTube. I miss when um it was just innocent stuff and we all kind of talked to each other and it was very collaborative. I still talk to Angela all the time. We're just on totally different schedules, but it's beyond that. It's like now there's so many people on the platform. It's super competitive, and I'm not a call out video person, so I can't do the call. But like I was on there the other day, and I noticed a new YouTuber came on who literally knocked off every other YouTuber's thumbnails I've ever seen, like so deeply. I was like I had to like take a knee for a minute, and it didn't even happen to me. I was just like, it's just like, how can you do that?
Got
How can you
whiplash?
do that? How can the community allow? But that's, you know what? It's just where it is in YouTube. And then maybe that's what you have to do. You have to go and look and you go, well, that was really successful. And so I have to do that. Maybe that's what it is. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily repaint somebody else's thing, but
People are bringing up how they love the hats.
I love the hats. And also because, I could be on camera then I didn't worry about the back of my head because
That
I
is
get so
true.
anxious about the back of my head.
I'm not gonna lie. Whenever I do my full outfits and decora,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that hat helps.
Just getting a little bit of highlight there, right?
I actually have the frog hat from your previous old
That's the
tutorials.
first tutorial I ever did. I'll need it back when I redo my first painting.
You'll be sad to learn that one of the eyes fell off. I didn't do anything, I swear, it just happened.
Dog.
No, it wasn't. It happened before shortcake.
I'm going to add little pops of highlight there just to really. You can see them, the metal starting to happen here.
I promise. I promise. Happened before shortcake. I'd
Bits
tell
of
you if it
metal
was her.
there. All right, let's call it a step just
Okay.
so that we're not getting so far into the painting that we can't get there. Donna Cox, just in case to see this hats and aprons again, the upcoming retreats are hats and aprons the attendees wear. Yeah, you get to dress like a Sherpa at the Art Sherpa retreat. You do. You get to dress like a Sherpa.
That's so fun.
Maybe it's fun. We thought it was fun. We were into it. All right, let's get some more. I'm going to get back into this crazy brush, which I'm really loving. I could probably also do the grainer, and I think I'm going to get the grainer involved at some point. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put out a little. I don't know I'll need it, but I'm going to put it out. So if I need some orange, I can get some orange in, and then we're going to definitely add some turquoise to some of it. Oh yeah, that's good. I want that.
I just want to say, I'm sorry for your hat, Mom.
Okay.
Are you sure?
Super sure.
Do you have enough motherly love to forgive me?
I do.
Okay. See, that's how I win. I just go, do you love me? Because if you love me, it's okay. And she says, I do love you. And I'm like, okay, I'm fine. I win.
I'm adding a little bit of this sort of kind of orange to this. I think it's got a nice effect in the overall,
Shiny.
yeah, in the overall piece where we're trying to talk about how I'm gonna look here, just make sure I've got that correct. Sometimes I might want to go more into the red.
Somebody wants to know if they have permission to paint one of your tutorials and try to sell it at a local craft show.
So yes, you do. Here's where our use policy is. Obviously on my copyright, but I do set up a use policy where you guys can sell in private sales to friends and family. And if you're selling to a friend and family, you don't even have to attribute it to me. If you go to a craft show or an online exhibit or a gallery or fair or anything, I just ask that somewhere there's some attribution. It's like, inspired by the original design, the Art Sherpa or something. It can be like a card. It can be tucked in. It doesn't have to be like the painting doesn't have to be branded. Here's why that's important. It's important for two reasons. One, because I have unique several hundred thousand unique people who come and watch the channel every month, right? And then we've had 600,000 people who come by and done lessons, and so everyone really knows the collection. If you have that attribution up, they don't come and give you any grief about selling my stuff without my permission because you attribute it. That's one thing. And also, so later, if a client sees it online, if you have that attribution, you were very forthright. That's true if you do a reproduction of even a masterwork. It's a good idea to put in that attribution to say, inspired by Degas or whoever it is, just in case a person later goes and sees it and goes, wait, this is a copy of that painting. They'll understand it.
I recently saw a redo of the Mona Lisa,
Mm-hmm.
but before like all of the time and wear, when the sky was still blue on it and everything was still vibrant.
Before it aged out.
Yeah, and like the person just casually repainted the Mona
But you
Lisa
can do
like it
that,
was
but you should
crazy.
attribute it. It's a crime if you don't.
Yeah, well, I mean, they said it was the Mona Lisa.
Yeah, well, it'd be very tough to get away with, like, doing the Mona Lisa. People might notice that. I'm going to put a little bit of that reflection there. Oh, that looks really good, doesn't it? Those muscles are really pulling together.
Now, you've done some fan art paintings too.
Yep.
What are your rules around those
They're
at
not
craft
mine
shows?
to give you guys any permission to do anything with. I do them for personal enjoyment. I share them with you for your personal enjoyment. There's no monetization on that. And I don't have rights to give you permit. Like, I don't have the rights that Disney has for Frozen. They didn't give me rights. I didn't purchase those rights, so I don't have any way to transfer those rights to you.
Because you didn't bring that up, and I thought that that might be something that they might want to know.
They might. Let's add a little bit of bright color here along the neck to start talking about that reflection. I'm not even sure I'm going to need to get into the grainer. Look how good this is looking.
Green?
Grainer.
Oh, greener.
It's a type of brush.
I thought you were saying there's green in there, and I'm like, I don't see green in there. But color theory.
Yeah, it's true. I feel like I'm going to sneeze, and if I sneeze in everybody's ear, I really apologize.
I don't know how to meet you, so I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Cherry Johnson says,
Hi, Cherry.
well, I like your channel. I like your painting, and I think you are a good teacher, and you explain things well.
Thank you.
See, you doubt yourself, but you shouldn't.
That's very sweet. I didn't tell them I doubt myself.
Well, like you were saying, like, my old paintings, I can do better. I can do better. I can
I
do
do
better.
always look at that and go, we could grow. I'm going to add a little brown to this.
You do that in a lot of things, like in
I
baking
do.
too.
Well, yes.
I actually yelled at her the other day because I was like, no, this is too good. You're not allowed to think that it's not good. And it was really good.
It was really good. You liked it? Add a bit of this kind of brushing to kind of speak about the metal that might be here.
It is really looking like metal. Like, I
It's
don't
just,
know when it happened, but now it's metal.
it's becoming metal. It's in the values and the reflections and the texture. Because those edges, so it's the sharp edges and the reflections and extreme tones that really take it there. I'm going to blow my nose. I really apologize. Did it work? I don't know.
No, it did, but it also didn't. So there was like a fart noise.
Sorry.
Because only some of it got picked up, and it was really funny.
I apologize.
No, it wasn't bad. It was muffled. It wasn't loud.
I took Claritin. I did what I could do before the show. I'm really loving this, guys. This is like, I know, like, sometimes we're supposed to paint things that like goes viral and it does all this stuff, but I'm just loving this moment, this time. I love when I get to work with honey, even though it scares me to death. But I love when I get to.
Oh, I think you should say something to Michael.
Hi,
Because
Michael.
Michael Art just said,
Hi, Michael Art.
yeah, yesterday just someone said I painted like an elementary student. And it's making me rethink painting altogether. What
Well,
do you say?
first of all, there was an entire school of art that happened in the 70s where they were trying to paint with the fresh, unjaded sense of design and genius that young children have in art. Someone saying you paint like an elementary student means they don't even understand how creativity works, right? Like, because if you look at how young people create, people new to the world where they're not burdened with ideas or success and failure about what art is or isn't, they create purely from their heart, from a raw and emotional place. And that's harder to do as you get older. So, not the insult that they were trying for. Do you know what I mean? And there's always people that want to insult art. I just saw a video about like how Thomas Kincaid was the most hated artist in the world.
Really?
Uh-huh. And that's not untrue.
Is that the guy with the toilet exhibit?
No. No.
You
That's
said
the
that
guy
so.
with the cottages. The guy with the
Oh.
cottage was very commercial. And so therefore people perceived him as not being, art or fine art or any of those things. And I was watching it with my husband. I said, the issue with this here is I'm going to add some real yellow works in here now. Is that, yeah, maybe like right now in this hot minute, there's a bunch of artists that are all mad and didn't like his commercialism or didn't like his sentimentality and they want to call it kitsch like that's an insult at all. But here's the thing. In 500 years, they're going to look at that body of work and they're going to recognize that it captured a time and a feeling and a sense of space and community. It had an amazing sense of light and design. And they're going to embrace all the things that he was insulted for. That's just a fact, whether you like him or don't like him. In 100 years and 500 years, when we have some distance from the work, everyone's going to be like, this is all the reasons why it's great, will be all the reasons that critics said it was bad. And you can see that right now with Margaret Keane. She was just, well, I guess it was Walter Keane who was vilified because he was stealing her work. But that artwork was vilified at the time, and now is celebrated. So
I
velvet paintings. Do you remember how people were like velvet art? Now you can't get velvet art. It's very hard to collect. I've tried.
I have to say I actually do love the look of like high art people painting like art to look like an elementary student because it has that like it has a specific look and I really like it. It falls in the same area of like clown paintings for me.
Which are very serious
Yeah.
and should not be underestimated. So, that idea like, oh, something is sentimental or something is, not whatever weird thing that they're wanting. I don't know. That's just people. While people are telling you is where they're emotionally limited in their art experience. I'm not even mad at the guy that got the millions of dollars for the NFT. John and I were in a big kind of, I don't want to say argument because it would be a weird thing to argue over, but we were in a very heated discussion about like,
The
I was
monkey
saying,
ones?
I'm glad he got paid. I think he deserved it. He did the work.
The monkey ones?
Not the monkey ones, the original, the first one that was the collection of
Oh,
his work over time.
yeah. Did you know that the
We're going to
owner
add some more yellow through here. So can you see how we golded all this up? And we started to create that sense of warmth. All right. All right, Silver Sky Cloud. For people who think they paint like children, look at those paintings. They're literally just paint splatters. Some people actually pay for those paintings. Just don't sweat it. Do what you like. And here's something to think about that. Jackson Pollock, which is who you're thinking of in the splatter paintings, one was not childlike. This very drunk, bitter, angry man. Um, just all the way. But the intentional nature of those paintings and how challenging, one, they had to create new medium to even do those. Like that wasn't available as a way to create. When they went to do his painting, they had to go with golden artist colors to even recreate the rheology of the paint that he was using at the time or his creation process. It was like crazy. Sometimes things that seem simple are not simple at all. All right, let's call a step.
Okay, step. Lynn Robertson wants to know if we can get a bronze crocodile. Pretty, please.
I think that we could. I don't know why we couldn't. And I agree with what Marina McGovern is saying to Michael Art. You're still hearing, keep hearing this, so keep arting on. You never let anyone stop you from arting. They don't have the right. They do not have the right to tell you not to create. No, just seriously. And have you ever noticed that none of the people who weigh in that are even remotely qualified to have any hard opinions anyways? It's like, what are you doing? All right, let's get back into the main. Let's go back into the main, shall we? Now, I think I'm going to have to pour some of this because I'm seeing it. I'm going to get a little green. And I am going to get a little phthalo blue. And it
said green earlier.
I did.
I was right.
Huh?
I was right. I was like, did you say green? And you were like, no. And I was like, I was thinking maybe color theory. And then you pulled out the green. So color theory.
All right. So we're going to get a little bit of this sort of turquoise here. And we're going to get it into the burnt sienna. See this here? Try to capture that patinaed metal feeling.
Somebody previously, I forgot who they were, said I sounded like Dad. Do you think I sound like Dad?
I mean, not to me. I think you and Spider sound alike. Sometimes I have trouble when I'm calling and one of you answers if I don't know who I'm talking to.
Speaking of Dad, he has returned.
He has returned. The structure is back. I'm adding a little bit of this green, and the reason I'm doing that is there's just a bit of that reflection in the metal, and that is really rather lovely, and especially back here. You can start coffee. I'm having fun with honey. I think everybody's having fun.
Oh, okay.
And I really need coffee.
I thought you wanted me to go.
I love you. There we go. That kind of like mossy green.
Thank you to everyone saying I'm doing a good job.
Because you're doing a good job. Add a little bit of white to that. That metal there. Definitely add a little bit of white to the tip of that ear. That.
That's so
nice.
weird.
What's weird?
Just the fact that green falls under there, but you wouldn't think green falls under there.
It's about the lighting they had on the statue. Yeah. The way they lit the studio. Changing
the background color also can really affect things.
I think so.
Like, just in a perception. I'll be like, I've learned recently that you should use gray as your background instead of white when doing digital art. Because that white can really mess you up. But once you turn it back to white, something that looked white or looked a color will be a totally another color. It's why that, like, yellow pink dress thing was the thing. It's color theory.
Color theory. Like game theory, but color theory.
Yeah, because
it's a color theory. I could spoof Matt back because it's a color theory.
Yeah, because you could just change one shade of something in the like ambiance, and
the whole
it looks
thing
like a totally different color.
It does.
It's crazy. I get color theory, but I don't get color
Well,
theory.
the thing to remember is that color theory is based in this. You're hallucinating the color.
Yeah,
It's not really there. You're
but am I
hallucinating. Your
hallucinating it
mind is
correctly?
guessing what it's looking at. It's guessing.
It needs to guess better because it's not doing good.
It doesn't guess universally either. We had a studio assistant for a period of time when I worked in my mom's studio that we were just like, why is everything green? Could you just stop making everything green? We don't understand why everything is printing out green. And we went into color balance, went to color balance the printer, and I went to color balance the computer, and I went to color balance everything across the scanner. So they were all matching. Couldn't understand it. And then we were looking at swatches, and he kept saying something was yellow, and I'm like, no, that's super green.
Colorblind.
Not colorblind, saw color differently.
Really?
And that's what we don't really recognize. It's beyond, is the dress blue or is the dress gold? We don't see color necessarily in uniform ways like we behave like we do. We don't
See,
necessarily see it the same way.
I have this type of thing in my
Adding a
head
little bit of flow in the blue.
where I think someone who sees red might see actually blue, but they think it's red and they call it red.
That could happen too, but that's
But
not
we
as
couldn't
common.
know. How would we know?
Well, eventually they'd get into a traffic accident, but
No, but like they would see it and they would grow up with blue being known as red. And
but
it's
traffic
red
lights
for
will
us.
never be blue.
No, but you're
How
not
would they stop?
you're not understanding what I'm trying to say. This is like complicated.
Okay.
Okay, so we see
I'm gonna
red.
add a little highlight on long neck.
We see red. There's a red button. But to them, it looks blue, but they call it red because they think it's red. Like everything is inverted, but they just think that that's the color for us. They just call it like that. And we would never know. I have a visual I'll show you.
Okay.
I'll show you it. But
Is it on TikTok? I suspect it's on TikTok.
No. It probably is, but I saw it on Twitter. Because it was part of that color theory.
What's your
Do I get to plug? Oh my
you get to plug your Twitter.
My Twitter is sugarfrog, 2 G's at the end, underscore. SUGAR, FROGG, underscore. Because somebody stole it before me and I had to put an underscore. And what's worse is they're a private account with no posts and no profile picture or bio. So I think they're a bot or something.
Honey has feelings on that. We're going to continue to add this cool reflection in the metal. It will, when the whole piece is done, make a big difference. And again, this feeling like it is metal.
It already looks like metal. It's metal. See, Lynn gets what I'm saying. Lynn gets what I'm trying to describe.
Lynn does. Lynn understands.
Yeah, you're thinking that somebody sees opposite and we'll eventually find out, but like, this is the type of situation where we couldn't know. Because it's opposite, but they grew up with it, like, being called the same thing we called it. Yes, if they learn the color red under the label of blue because they saw it differently, but we would never know.
That would be really rough. I'm adding a little bit of dark shadow to continue.
Would it be rough? Because that's their life.
I don't know, man.
See, I'm paranoid about this all the time. Because I'm like, what if I see the wrong colors and everybody else sees something else? I would never know because I learned them this way. Maybe the ocean
shadow to the back of the
is
eye
red.
there. Exaggerate those values. I mean, you've got a thought happening here.
Something I thought about when I was thinking about color theory, and it got really deep, and then I got really paranoid. Because I want scientists to figure out a way to figure this out. I know there's more important things probably for them to do, but this is what I need.
Maria says, I saw many videos before, but this is the best one. I feel like painting in family. Well,
Why'd you look at me?
I don't know. I always look at Dad, but I can't see Dad because the curtain is there.
Well, it's me. Hi.
Can you type in your Twitter handle for them? I don't know if you have that. I'm gonna blow my
can't
nose again, and
type.
I'm super sorry, guys.
I'll put it in the in the mod chat and they can send it out.
Okay, Honey can put it in mod chat. I'm so sorry, guys. Having such a.
Sit.
I'm going to get a lot of black on here, and I'm going to really try to capture some of the sharp curves of the cuts on the hair. See how by capturing those sharp values, that pops it and takes it from main to metal? From main to metal.
That sounds like a movie title for like a robot horse. From Maine to metal. Ba, 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 ba. Oh, and they can also see my nails on there because I posted those the other
That's
day.
true. They could see your nails. I'm going to come here and add a little. Oops, that's too wet. Sometimes that'll happen and I'll have to come back and pick it up. Over thinned. Something that happens to us.
I think we're. Kathy Carley said, by listening to you guys, you must be an amazing family. Love watching you, and I'm learning so much from you. Thank you
Oh,
for sharing your great talent with us.
you're so welcome. I think the kids can determine. I don't know. You guys get to declare it's an amazing
You don't want to hear
family.
my opinion.
I do,
You
but
say that, but you don't want it. I think that we're a good family, but we're a real family. So of course we're going to have problems and stuff, but that's just being a good family, I think. Cuz if you
I
were
think
a
so.
family without problems, I feel like that's not the same.
I think that's just being very lucky.
That's true. I think some chaos in your family is good. It's
Well,
good for you.
that's very good you feel that way because we do have the chaos.
It's all I've ever known. So, every time you look up at the camera, it feels like you're giving like this dramatic like, what did you say?" And I think that you're like reading me, and I'm like, "Don't read me. Don't do it." Cuz that's a thing that a lot of drag queens do, and I'm like, "Oh, don't do it."
All right. So let's call this a step, and then we're going to come in and start putting in the finishing touches to this. Oh, wow. 10. I'm surprised we've done this well.
Weirdly, there's a step 12.5. Do you want me to
Because,
skip that one?
no, 12.5 is because I am weird and superstitious and I'm afraid of step 13.
Oh, okay. So there's a step. Oh, I see that step 14. So, okay.
I'm like a hotel that doesn't have the 13th floor.
Okay.
Okay?
You do
Okay.
that.
That's what's gone on. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of my white. It's kind of skinning out at this point. I can see that. Maybe add a little yellow to it.
If you can't find me, just put in the first part without the underscore and it should come up. Remember that second G.
I'm going to add a little bit of white to that. And oh, you can got to take the step down, pumpkin.
Okay. I just didn't know if you were ready for me to take it
I'm
down.
ready.
Done.
Okay. So we're adding a little bit of the kind of pops of metal reflection, which is going to take it into the metal. I'm going to tap it in and just try to, because the statue is rough, the reflections won't be smooth like they would say be on a teapot, where they're blocked and very structural.
Oh, I'm safe. Somebody just told me there's a way to test for the thing that I have. Not what I have, but like what I was describing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure we would know. So I'm safe. I see the same red that you see. We see the
Okay.
same reds.
We see the same red.
I don't know why that stressed me out so much. I just
I don't
want
know.
to
I
see
would
the same
still
red
love
as
you, so it's just.
But
And you would still
you
be a
would
good
never
artist. Like,
know, and I would never know.
if
But
it's
now
all
we know we can know.
subjective, if it's all just hallucination, then, but what does it matter?
It matters to me. To me. And by the way, for context, anyone who have gotten on my Twitter at this point, it's all ponies. It's all ponies and colorful art.
Yeah.
It's really it. I don't do all these amazing, crazy tutorials like my mother.
You are your own artist, and you
I
should
am.
be proud of the artist that you are because it's amazing. You don't have to be like me to be incredible.
Honestly, when I do my lives, I'm not trying to teach other people. I'm trying to figure it out myself. I'm confused. I don't know what I'm doing. Half of the time, I'll accidentally do something and be like, ooh, I like that. I'm gonna keep doing that. Do you ever just accidentally discover something and then that becomes a new thing you do?
All the time.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, I learned a new way to do this. Like today with the
Keep
balloon
putting,
animals.
just 1 second. You're amazing in balloon animals. So I am trying to hit, you'll see it on the reference. I'm trying to hit those bright highlights. That's really what's going to pull it out of the I'm a real horse to I'm a statue metal horse. Is in those bright kind of colors that are here. And I've got to even hit some of those with the gotta come in with maybe the gold and really hit some. I don't want it to be, so yellow like what we have, but like I do need it to be hard to get control over the moisture in this brush. That's the only issue with Hog that's like frustrating. It's like it doesn't want to play ball.
So I was gonna make a comparison to the love bugs thing. We're an
Okay.
happy accident.
That's a good example.
And I finished making it. I made a blue one and I tied them. And they're
You have
cute.
to give context that I'm going to add a little bit of bright warm
Should I give context to the
reflection.
love bugs?
And you have to give context to the love bugs. I'm going
Okay.
to sneeze. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't know when it's happening.
I'll tell them.
This particular cold or allergy or whatever it is, I think I'm going to sneeze and then I don't sneeze and then I don't think I'm going to sneeze and then I sneeze on everything. It's embarrassing.
So I learned to do balloon animals recently because I just want to be a little silly, goofy clown. I am tempted to go to clown college, not for a job, just for personal life experience. I need to know who I am, and that's how I discover it. Um, and I tried to make a heart, but it didn't quite work because I messed it up and I didn't blow it enough. And so I tried to turn it into a bow, and I was like, "Oh, this is a bug." And my dad goes, "It looks like a love bug. You should make another and tie them together." And I was like, "Oh, it does look like a love bug," which is honestly traumatic considering we came from Texas. Um, I saw so many. And I made a second one and tied them together. And I haven't seen any love bugs. I'm gonna have to look it up if there's any tutorials on YouTube of how to do a love bug like balloon animal. And maybe my first video on YouTube will be that. How to do a balloon animal love bug from somebody who knows how to do 4 different balloon animals.
Well, first of all, the way it is on YouTube now, even if they did do love bugs, you still can too, and you can completely copy their thumbnail.
Well, I just want to know. I just want to. I don't. I'm more self-conscious about copying other people. And if I'm gonna say I came up with this idea, I want to be able to say that somebody else already did this, or I did this. It was me. I did this. I came up with this, and I'm a genius. I will be stealing that from Dad, though. Your idea of the love bug. I'm stealing the credit.
I love you so much. Oh, I'm right here. I might need to. I've been blowing my nose in these poor people's ear the whole.
It's been funny.
It's snot in their face or blow in their ear.
Don't mind. It's your show.
Somebody is scared
Everyone
of
is really
clouds.
enjoying honey.
Here.
They're really enjoying honey. I don't know. You may be stun-handed replaced, which John would not hate.
See, y'all say this
He's other
every
stuff to
time.
do.
Y'all say this every time, and it never happens.
Well, you're going to be seeing honey on Thursdays because the class runs longer than kid pickup.
I I get to start coming in on Thursdays. Thursday is honey day. Yay!
Maybe we should paint honey on honey day. Let me taste.
Oh, Amethyst Rock.
I'm
You're
perfect.
scared of clowns? I'm a good clown. I'm pretty. That sounded like I was throwing shade at other clowns. I think all clowns are great, but I'm a cute clown. I'm just like, ooh. I'm
You
not
just
like
want it known that you're a
Pennywise.
cute clown.
Yeah, I'm very unthreatening.
I'm gonna get my detail brush and a little of my CAD yellow and my Quinn, and I'm gonna come in and again start trying to create those like highlights that show the structure of the sculpt. Yeah, you can keep going. I just had to tell them that.
Oh, I don't know what to talk about.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to interrupt you.
I had already finished.
Oh, okay. You're a good clown.
Oh, I thought somebody was spamming in the chat, but it was actually a mod saying the rules.
Yeah, the only spamming we get now, there's a new thing where they put in like these little short links and it takes you to some adult content.
Oh, that's not.
No, it's the new thing, and the system doesn't pick it up yet. So, and the bots are pretty handy at getting it out there. I'm actually always amazed at how effective they are getting their message out there. Putting in that metal sculpt in the air. I'm loving this. I'm actually really just enjoying this painting. Very much, actually. I'm going to pull that nice reflection. So see how the light went across that hair there? That was like a good thing to capture to be able to say this is where the light is shining.
Welcome back, THM. Teach. Somebody said, who is Honey? I am the Art Sherpa's kid. I'm the oldest. I'm 17. And I'm pretty. Just felt like sharing.
Not untrue. Honey is very beautiful. I'm just trying to capture those metal highlights on top. Mary Myers, I love that you two women are running the show. I love that Mary Myers like loves that. Do you know what I'm saying? I love that you love that. Kathy Carly would like to know, does the whole family paint? Honey, I'm interested to hear your answer on that.
Luna paints. Spider does 3D art now. That's his thing. And I do digital art. That's what I do.
Does Dad paint?
Dad weirdly just is like a jack of all trades kind of guy. He just does whatever his current thing is. And if his current thing needs some type of artistic skill, he tends to be able to kind of evolve. Like, does it need sculpting? Do sculpting. Does it need painting? Do some painting.
Do your grandparents paint?
My grandma Ginger paints? She does. And she has her own John who runs her channel.
That is the weirdest one, is that she has a YouTube channel as well, and she has a John that runs her channel.
Oh my god. The
So
moment
weird.
that I met a John and I was like, no, we can't. We can't say, I can't do another one. It can't be 3. It can't be 4. It's too many.
Too many Johns. And your grandmother Linda also paints.
Oop, they knew of a spider and a daughter who became, with a name begins with L. That's Luna. And
That's right.
I guess you just don't talk to me. I guess you're embarrassed of me.
Who?
Me.
Why would I be embarrassed of you? I don't understand why you're
Because they didn't hear of me. They didn't know of me.
Honey, you've been on this channel for 7 years.
What?
You can find Honey has been on this channel for like 7 years. I have videos that go back to our first year on YouTube with Honey. Honey even used to help me teach tutorials.
I did do that a couple times.
Yeah.
I was young, though, and difficult. I'm still difficult.
You were certainly wiggly, is what I would say you were. I'm going to add little dots here. See, I'm kind of capturing the metal with those little dot textures, which I really like. I feel like that's like, it's so perfect.
Also, the lack of filter probably didn't help.
Filters are important online.
You know how little kids just say things?
Anything.
They just say what's on their mind. Like, I don't know if y'all saw Encanto, but like oh my gosh, my phone. I'm gonna mute that.
Just
But you know
find
how
those
in
little highlights
Kanto,
on
one of the
there.
kids is like, maybe your gift is being in denial. Like, kids just say anything.
They really do. The
I think
young.
that's kind of awesome of them, though, because sometimes they're honestly reading people, and I think that that's okay.
I know you do.
Yeah, some of the older viewers know me, because they were here.
Like long time.
Yeah.
Like Angela Maxwell for sure knows you, you
Yeah.
know. Colleen knows
Lulabelle
you. Lynn probably. Mary probably. Joy.
Lulabelle says that they recall videos of me helping you dry paintings.
Mm-hmm.
Did I do that?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, you even ate a cake in one.
I did? What?
Spider ate a cake.
I don't remember that at
Because I
all.
was showing everyone how to make a really cheap wet palette using a cake case. But
Oh.
somebody had to eat the cake.
And then I ate the cake.
You and
I
Spider
wish I remember eating the
volunteered
cake.
for that very difficult work of eating the cake.
We should do that again so I can eat another cake.
I mean, we could, I suppose.
Yes. I mean, you said you wanted to redo old tutorials.
Luna? Uh-oh. And how soon? Does Honey know how to shut down the stream?
Yeah, you
Okay,
just
then we're
push
good.
end.
I think I have more. I don't know if I have 10 minutes left or I have more than 10 minutes left. I'm kind of really jamming on this metal. So what I'm looking for is across the sculpt, and as I look at the reference and you see the reference here, I'm looking for those highlights and I'm trying to duplicate that variance of warmth to heat that we have.
I just watched Dad lag as he was trying to process where to go. It was like a sim. You know when Sims like start walking in the same place because they're confused?
Yeah.
That was totally him, like processing where do I go?
Oh, until you are at the age where you walk into a room and you don't remember why you entered the room.
Oh, I already do that and I'm 17. That's not an age thing. That's you do that forever. That's a forever thing. Oh, apparently it was my dog that made him glitch. Her little woof, woof.
Your dad is so nice to that dog. Your dad is like, bark, bark, bark. He's not
Yeah.
even mad at the noise.
I love that dads, like, unisonly are always like, we don't need another dog. Dog is not good. And then we get dog, and dad is best friend with dog. Why does that always happen?
Like, loves dogs.
Like, there's like a whole meme genre of it. So clearly, this is a very universal experience.
It must be. I'm coming through and I'm just pulling in these bright, warm highlights. Here, I'm going to make sure that I've got. maybe down
Sorry,
a
somebody
little bit.
said we.
We what?
We.
Going to add a little kind of high metal highlight to that ear so that pulls out of the ear. You know? I love seeing Joy. Joy's going to be doing some metal watercolors with us soon, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh, I burped. I'm so sorry.
Joy's a fantastic
didn't mean to.
watercolorist. Y'all did not know.
I totally just burped on the mic and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I've been blowing my nose in their ear.
No, but that's different. That was gross, and I'm
Sometimes
sorry.
I do that because I swallow air during the show and Dad isn't fast enough to get the mic.
Okay, now I don't feel bad. Because if you've done it, it's okay that I did
I
it.
really have.
I just don't want to be embarrassing
Lulabelle's
you.
17-year-old daughter does digital art too.
That's so cool. Digital art is very fun. Yeah, that's definitely a dad thing. I don't know why. Yeah, he did that with Twix too. Where you're like, we don't need another dog, and then we get the dog, and you're in love with the dog.
Dog.
Stupid dog! You made me look bad.
Just adding these little highlights. So I find it's in those last little reflections that it sort of all comes together. Julie McLean says, OMG, my kids say my husband used to dress like a sim and does the dog thing too. And Lisa Vandermeer says the painting is beautiful. Thank you, Lisa. I'm kind of loving it too.
Sometimes I do get paranoid that there are NPCs in life because some people do dress like Sims, like randomly generated characters. What? No, you're not an NPC. You're like a quest person. You definitely have a quest.
Oh my gosh. You have just summed your father up for all the kids.
Yeah,
He is the giver of quests. You can't walk
absolutely.
in the room without getting a quest.
He's a guy who sits at the tavern and gives quests. Yeah, you own the tavern.
But
You're behind the
you
bar.
don't even go to him to get the quest. Like he comes and finds you, he's like, you have a quest.
No, you go there unsuspecting and you
How's
get
it
a
looking?
quest. You didn't expect the quest. It happened. Oh, you guys kissed.
Okay. Luna likes to be picked up.
Okay. Walking me through the show as if I push the big red button that ends the stream.
Are we digging the reflections? I think I'm digging the
It's
reflections.
so good.
Thank
You are
you,
totally
Lynn.
jamming on this.
I'm jamming.
You're jamming on this. Like I as a fellow artist, I recognize that moment when you're in the art. Like you're like in it.
You're loving it and you're in it and you're feeling it.
Yeah, I like it when I get into a piece. You don't even have to love it to get really in it, but sometimes you're just in a piece.
Sometimes you're just in a piece.
I've been in some pieces. Dang, saw Jan on camera. Yeah, you did. You saw a kiss. Kiss cam. You guys need to get like a button that's kiss cam. Like one of those football things. Kiss cam.
Dad doesn't like to be on camera. It really gives him anxiety.
Well, should have thought that before he wanted to go kiss you, because now we're getting a kiss cam. It's too late.
You haven't been here when like Twix has like released one of her death farts. And I'm
You
like
told me about
trapped in
that.
the room with her. We're going to continue to just find these really hot highlights in the metal because that's what's going to take it really into that this is a sculpture, this is metal, this is what's happening.
Oh my gosh, somebody's already timestamped them.
What?
The kiss, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, Donna's got to have timestamped it. It's going to be like people will search it later. Did they kiss?
Do these married people kiss? Let's find out.
I'm sure it'll be a search too eventually. That's a weird thing when you find weird Google searches like how much does the Art Sherpa make? And I'm like, I don't know. Do you know?
I don't even know. Yeah, I like those videos of when YouTubers look up their names and see the top searches.
Oh, it's just so weird. How old am I? Older than I want to be.
IS Cupquake, back in her earlier career, had adjusted her bra once on a video and didn't notice, and so years later, there's a search of IS Cupquake bra.
Luckily, I don't get too much of that.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
that makes me super paranoid. I was like, what? Because that internet, what is it called? Like that mark you leave. That's your thing.
Footprint?
Yeah, your fingerprint, your footprint.
Yeah.
That internet footprint is real, and you gotta be careful.
Yeah, you really. It's unfair for your generation in my mind. In my generation, I could go out and just be monumentally stupid. And there's no record of it. I'm gonna sneeze again. I'm sorry.
There's many stories that I cannot repeat, and there's many stories she will never tell me.
Not until you're much older.
You think you'll tell me everything? Not everything.
As soon as like it's not permission for you to do it,
It will always be permission for me to do it.
Then you may
I'll just
never
be
know.
an adult.
Then you may never know. That's how that works. You might
That's so
never
sad.
know. I'm adding this blue and white highlight up here because it's like a way to highlight the metal. That's a little bit in shadow, and the contrast of those two things really, really plays together. I'm also thinking it might be interesting. I'm going to get into my grainer, and I'm going to see if I can thin some black.
I'm just gonna say this out loud because I know somebody put it in the chat, but I want to make sure everybody hears it. Questions are all capital letters so mods can see them more quickly to pass on to the Sherpa. Just so everybody can get their questions out, because I've noticed some people haven't put them in caps lock.
Yeah, that one takes a little bit. We're more like don't spam and like if you're a creator and you want help on your channel, it's better just to email me or message me because this is not we don't do sub for sub.
You've
But like if
actually
you
done
message me, I'll
stuff
tell you
though.
where to find all the stuff.
Yeah, you actually help smaller art like channels and stuff, and I've seen you.
Yeah, but not in the like come to my channel and like drum up subs kind of way. And only because like if you when you let it go, when we used to let it go, it got crazy. And then when you shut it down, people are like, you're evil. It just turned into a thing.
You're
But
evil.
if you're like, hey, I need to know where stuff is, like a lot of times if I see the message, I'm not ignoring it. If I see the message, I'm chances are I'll answer it. Because I remember what it was like. We just lost a creator, a longtime friend and creator to COVID.
Oh, Rosie Cotton, just keep putting your question in. I'm sure it'll get seen. The chat just goes fast.
Oh, what
If
was
I
Rosie's
see it, I will
question?
say it.
Okay. Did we miss one?
Rosie says that their question keeps getting missed, so if they put it in again, I will try to catch it.
Sometimes the chat goes in a weird space. What I'm doing here with this brush, this is a filbert grainer. And what's wonderful about this brush is that it creates, this does this weird space in waves. You know how waves have micro ripples? It does a wonderful job on the micro ripples. And it also does a job in like where there's sort of a scratch. See how there's like scratches in the metal? So if I want to try to capture that, look at
Darcy had said watching three of my fave artists, and for some reason I thought she was referencing me, you, and the horse.
that. The horse is a well-known painter. We all admire the horse.
Yeah.
The trick with this brush is you've got to have kind of a light touch and keep, see how that gives that scratching patina to it? I really like that. I'm going to rinse out, maybe try to come in with some of the highlighted ones too, perhaps.
Me too, Rosie. I am totally freaking out over the main too. It's really gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
Everybody thinks it.
I really appreciate that. So you can see I just use this brush to give myself that sort of random little scratchy scratch. It does hair, does foam, does bark, and now we've learned it does beaten bronze and gold patinas.
Yeah, some elephants paint. I saw that. I've seen some dogs paint, some animal paintings, where they put paint in a like plastic thing and then put it on the canvas and the dog walks on it and then they sell it. And see, I kind of want to make Shortcake do that.
I think Shortcake will eat the paint, as any yesterday was any indication.
Oh my god, yeah, she would absolutely eat the paint. I would definitely have to hold her paws and then squish it around.
All right, so this is a nice tool to try to get that very randomized, you know, which can be kind of tough to get sometimes, isn't it? Kind of random.
Is this more tapping dots and dashes versus actual brush strokes?
This is more, yeah, furtive is the how I would describe it. It's a furtive stroke. It's not necessarily dots and it's not really dashes, but it's irregular, randomized, furtive strokes. That's a good question.
Yeah, it looks so much like metal.
And that's the fun. I think these kinds of studies where we get out of our own head and we just get into a topic, I think those can be super wonderful.
Huh. I found out some reptiles also paint on Snake Discovery, says Amethyst Rock. That's crazy. I did not know that reptiles also painted.
I did not know that either. That is a very surprising factoid.
Yeah. They'd be painting. They'd be painting. Animals be painting. So, if all these other animals can paint, I think a horse could paint.
I'm pretty sure a horse can do that. Horse can steal the paint, that's for sure. Witness
Horse
that.
probably wouldn't like how the paint tastes.
Probably not. I'm adding little highlights to the structure around the eye just so that it has that sort of
Eyebrow
reflective,
line.
you know, space. Then maybe a little bit under here.
Do horses have eyebrows?
Yes. Like, but they're not like bushy hair, but they
They're
do.
not like eyebrows, but they're like the under part of the eyebrow.
They do have like expression though, like serious,
Oh
like
yeah, they
serious
let you
expression.
know. They let you know. They got
Mm,
lots of feelings.
okay, I feel like we're getting there. So I'm going to add a little bit of a shadow cast on the wall and then take a look at it. How are you guys doing?
Do you want to step here?
Huh?
Do you want to step here?
Yeah, we can step the shadow. It won't hurt. What step would we be on?
11.
Okay, we can step the shadow.
Step 11.
Could I tilt the painting forward?
Ooh, wait. Actually, that gave like an interesting point of view.
I don't know if you've been switching to the close camera, and I don't know if Dad told you how to switch.
No, I did.
Okay.
You went on the close camera mostly because you've been doing a lot of small lines.
So I hope that helped.
Yeah, because if I do the above camera, they can't see the lines as well.
All right, I'm going to get in here, and I guess I will get some kind of black going. And there is definitively a shadow cast here. I think it's sort of interesting, so I'm going to add it to the wall. The shadows are awesome. Sometimes you got to get that shadow in. Sometimes the shadows also tell us a little bit about light source. And a little bit here and there. Just any place you feel like you need a little more exaggeration. Actually, getting pretty happy. Just a few more like hot pops, and then I think I'm there. I think we're gonna have to sign. Do you want to meet me next Thursday, sweetheart, to do the?
Sure.
We're gonna be painting. I think. Oh, it's gonna be super exciting. Fabric folds.
That's so fun. Rosie Cotton asked it. No, not ask. Well, says it does. Tilting helps with the glare and makes the colors truer. That was awesome. Maybe in the future you should start tilting your paintings a
I
little
think
bit.
I will, Rosie. Thank you for the very good feedback.
I mean, I noticed it very immediately. It definitely weirdly did help. Whoever, yeah, Rosie, thank you for suggesting that because that was a weirdly really good suggestion. I didn't even know that would help. I don't know if Mom did you?
No, but now I do, and I won't forget.
You have
I'm
to
just
do.
adding a little highlight to some lines of stuff that I know would have it.
You actually now have to redo all of your tutorials except tilt them now. So sorry.
Adding
Ooh.
those little bits. Sometimes you just look around and you're like, do I need? Do I need? Do I need?
Lynn QC
Hi,
asks,
Lynn.
Cinnamon, will you do a tutorial on all shadows?
All shadows?
I thought you had already done a shadow
Oh, like
tutorial.
on light and shadow. Yeah, I'll do another one on that. I'll do another one on that. Some of that might be coming out after Acrylic April. I think what you'll see before is metal, some stuff on clouds, our traditional tutorials that we always do, like of paintings, and then we're going to get deep into Acrylic April. And this Acrylic April is really going to be about the transformation, and I'm going to let you look at my own personal journey in a really raw and exposed way, and how much it impacted me as an artist, what it specifically changed in me. Like, we'll look at my work where I got to take my time and do stuff, and then like when I got into the daily painting process and how hard that was for me and what it took for me to get through. And then after that, I think we'll get back into that, and I will have gnomes before Acrylic April. Gonna add a little bit of kind of like dots there that kind of like imply some of that. Okay, I think I'm there. I think I'm happy, personally. You guys can take it further. This is study, right? So you go as far into the study as you want.
Well, actually, speaking on study, somebody had said that they were going to do a dragon using this tutorial.
Brilliant. Do. This will help. This will absolutely help. The metal study and a metal dragon would be brilliant. Brilliant.
All right, do we want to step this?
We're done. We're going to sign it.
Do we step the sign?
Mm-mm.
Okay, no step.
No step. It's just, I'm going to sign with this sort of like copper patina green that I had going, which again was the phthalo green, phthalo blue, and burnt sienna. Make a little signature there, thin some stuff out using my monogram liner. And I'll come down here and I'll just hit this. I was real happy with this. This was a fun day. I hope you guys were happy with this.
But let me cut it so they can see that better. Because it was cut off just at the corner for that little reference picture. That blue was an interesting signing color.
I don't like to do anything too bright. You've got to be able to read a signature, but I don't like to take away from the whole piece with my signature. That's the whole. It's a weird thing I have going on.
I mean,
All
you've
right.
always done that. I've noticed.
So do you know how to shut down the stream?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to say it. Guys, thank you so much for being here for this little mini quest in metal. I loved our metal horse today. I look forward to seeing your metal horses in the Art Sherpa official group and in Big Art Quest. If you're doing other studies in metal, a good place to share those is the Big Art Quest, because as long as it's quest related, you can share in there. Of course, in your patronage, you can share. And then Fine Art Friday for just general original stuff. I'm on Twitter and Instagram and all the places. So when you do a painting, please tag me and please let me know. If I see it, I will comment. I don't see everything, but if it's out there and I see it, I really try to comment because I love to see your guys' work.
She spends hours going through comments and reacting, and I'm like, nobody does this. And she's like, I do this.
I do this. Because it's important, and I love to see how you guys are doing. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other, and I want to see you at an easel really soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.